Welcome to the Hitmakers podcast. I am the biggest Ben. This is
Whitney Phillips.
Whitney Phillips. And today we have Tommy Brown.
The one and only.
The one and only Tommy Brown. I got a little intro for you.
Self-proclaimed.
Okay.
All right. So Tommy Brown, also known as TBHits, is a Grammy-winning songwriter and producer behind some of the biggest hits in pop and R&B. He's worked extensively with Ariana Grande, co-creating chart toppers like Seven Rings, Thank You Next, and Positions. His credits also include hits with The Weeknd, Megan Thee Stallion, Justin Bieber, Blackpink, to name a few, showcasing his versatility across genres. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Tommy made his way to Atlanta and cut his teeth on records with Dark Child, Rodney Jerkins, and also met his frequent collaborator, Victoria Monet, and had his first hit with one of my favorites, Black Eyed Peas. Not only a songwriter and producer, but also a businessman. If you know Tommy, you know he has a big heart, and he always has a crew around him that he is striving to lift up through mentorship and opportunities. Today, we're going to dive into how he became always up, never down, and spreads the money all around. Welcome, Tommy Brown.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Pretty good
Heck
intro, right?
That was incredible.
He's smashing them. He's great.
I was like, ChatGPT went crazy.
Yeah. You know,
It's a
these
little
are all
this, little that.
self-written. These are self-written.
Okay.
Oh, man. Actually, Jay Hart wrote it, and I stole it from him. Is what
Just to get back.
Yeah, that's the good
Fire,
part.
fire.
No, we're so excited to have you here. This is, I feel like I always say this, but I'm so looking forward to this interview in particular.
Yes, this might be our most anticipated interview.
This is,
mainly because it was so hard to get you here.
it was hard to get you here, which is builds the anticipation. But coming into the show for me, I really didn't know many people on the show. I knew Whitney,
Yep.
and that was it. But I was most familiar with your work. So your kind of reputation preceded you. And I think I mentioned it on the show, but it's like sometimes they're like, oh, don't meet your, heroes or like the people who you like look up to. And for me, that was not at all my experience with you. We got put in the session right at the beginning and it was like, oh my gosh, you surpassed everything that I expected from you. But today we want to kind of dive into your backstory and then we'll kind of get into the show. So let's talk about, how you grew up. Where did you grow up and what was that like?
I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's like a small pond. It's not like a lot of big things going on there. I think right now, like the population is like 300,000.
Okay.
So it's not like a big city, but it's an important city because it taught me everything that I knew.
Wow.
So I grew up two-parent home, and it was really good. But I came from like the bottom, and I kind of grew up in a place where it was like you started here, and I grew up in a transition to the suburbs. So I kind of got to see a lot of different things and meet a lot of different people, and it wasn't just one side. So me in school, I knew everybody. I knew the people who were in choir, the people who played sports, and to me,
You were in every room?
I was in every room.
That's shocking.
So I mean, that's kind of the start of it. And when I was 15, my dad passed away. And it was like kind of traumatic for me, but that kind of put me in a place where I started to do music. And that was like my escape from the pain.
Wow.
So I downloaded Fruity Loops on a CD. Actually, somebody gave me a CD
Yeah.
of Fruity Loops. And
You
then I
had to download
started
from the CD. Crazy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I started making beats, and that was like my escape from all the human things that can affect you.
So were you super social? And then when your father passed, did you get a little bit more isolated or like find a need to be, I guess, like isolated to heal from that?
No, I don't think I ever was isolated. I feel like I was social to not deal with
Got it.
what it was. So for me, it was, I went and talked to everybody. I never went to class. I was in everybody else's rooms. I went to all 3 lunches. So
Wow. So you've always been this way?
always been this way.
Wow. Why do you think you are, like what made you that way? So social, and do you think it's just like innately who you are? Or did you just have like a curiosity for what was going on around you?
I honestly don't know. I just kind of I feel like one day it was just a switch that flipped and I was just everywhere. And then I started making beats on the lunch table.
Wow.
And we would draw like big crowds of people in the lunchroom until they started suspending me for doing it.
That's so
That's
funny. Did you have any
amazing.
brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have a few brothers and sisters who I love all equally.
Yeah. That's cool.
Was your mom supportive of you making music? Did she see the vision right away, like you?
She gave me the space to do it, even though I had to turn it down when she got home from work.
Got it. What did she say when you got suspended from school for doing music?
Half the time she didn't know. I would just leave and then wait for her to leave and come back home.
What's your musical influence like at home? You know, you said you started making FL beats, but what were you drawing from? What were you listening to that kind of inspired you at that time?
Well, there was a friend of mine named Tone who was in the city, and he made like a lot of beats for like rappers in the city, and he was like popular, and I was like, yo, I just want to do that. I think that's like the coolest thing in the world. And so from there, I went and just listened. My parents had like a lot of albums, like CDs in the house, and I would listen to everything. And then I had FL, so I would just sample everything from the Lion King to whatever I could find. And I feel like I just started kind of building from there.
So you would like pull in the Lion King soundtrack and then put a new beat on it? Is that kind of the vibe?
No, I would take it and then I would find like one little loop from it and then
yeah.
reverse it and do all different kind of things. And I was
Wow.
like, we're starting, because I was very influenced by, it was two different producers, the Heat Makers and Kanye West.
Okay. Yeah.
And I feel like those were the ones that kind of influenced me from the jump.
Do you go to college after high school? What's the next step in your kind of musical journey?
I went to a community college for like a semester studying psychology, and I wanted to be like an FBI agent.
Oh, well, it worked out for
Well,
you.
I think you might
That's
still.
what you are.
I think it could still be one.
I
I'm
think
not
you're
100%
well on your
sure
way.
that's not what happened.
You fully trained on season 1 of Hitmakers as an FBI agent. Why psychology?
Because it's one of the main things you need to be in that profession.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you knew right away. You're like, I'm doing this degree to get this.
to be honest, I was in the streets doing everything I wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
I was like, if I learned what they look for, they can never find me.
Wow.
That's tracked so hard for you. That's amazing.
I think it's really interesting. I mean, I feel like a lot of the cast members are like this, but especially you. And I would say you as well, like you're so curious just for information, and you like to be prepared and have a sense of just like knowing what's going on around you. And I think when I asked like, why do you go into all those rooms and move around the way that you do? I think it's important to contextualize like why that's important for you to do well at your job.
I mean, I just want to be the best. Like, I just want to, like, I look at everything like it's a sample, right? So if Ben's in the room and this is what Ben does, in my mind, I'm like, it's like the same thing as listening to an old album. And it's like, oh, this is the part I want to sample. So if Ben is playing the guitar and he's playing the keys, I'm like, okay, how can I use that in the bigger picture of everything we're doing? And if Seven's a great lyricist, how can I go and use that in a bigger picture to make this composition? I look at everything like it's a sample and putting it all to one masterpiece.
Like very holistically looking at, I guess, the entire camp, like every room in the camp.
Yeah, and the biggest issue is I have like ADHD, so it's a group chat going on in my mind at all times. So it's like it's hard to just be in one place and just sit there and be like, okay, let's focus on this string part.
Wow.
I'm like, let's focus on 5 string parts.
That makes actually a lot of sense why you transition into becoming the executive that you are, which we'll talk
100%.
about later. But I was just curious, like where that like curiosity came from.
Yeah, it's such a good question. Yeah, we'll have to dive into that too, specifically on the show. But yeah, so you're at community college, you kind of do one semester, and then and what happens next?
I was doing a lot of stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing. At the same time, I was making beats everywhere I went. Like, they're like, yo, you always have this beat machine with you. And from there, one day I just packed all my stuff up and was like, you know what? I'm going to Atlanta. So I packed all my stuff in my car and drove to Atlanta.
Did you know anybody in Atlanta? Why Atlanta?
I just was like, it's a lot of stuff going on. I love Young Jeezy. I love Ludacris. I love all these people, and I want to go and get closer to them.
Yeah.
Right.
So I packed all my stuff in the car and drove to Atlanta. And I was dating somebody at the time whose grandmother lived in Atlanta. So I was lucky enough to have a side room in the house
Yeah.
You had somewhere to crash.
for like 2 months.
Yeah.
That I had to get up out of there.
We had to leave. Living with the grandma of the significant
Yeah,
other is
yeah.
a little dicey.
Especially when y'all not in the same rooms and it's very like,
Right.
it's
right,
tough.
right.
That's-
What did Atlanta mean to you, and what did you learn in Atlanta?
well, I was able to take my street hustle from Pittsburgh to Atlanta and apply it to doing music. So I would burn 50 CDs of beats every day, one by one, in the laptop. You remember the big spindles?
Of course.
So I would burn 50 a day and I would go to any open mic and pass them out. I had my CDs frisbeed. I had them thrown on the floor, and I've had them actually put in some people's CD players. So I started meeting a lot of people, and then I'm gonna never forget. I went to the mall to meet this guy. He wanted to buy my first beat for $100, and I remember
Ooh,
passing the beat CD to him, and he gave me $100, and I was like, "It's on."
it's on. That's amazing.
That's all you need sometimes, though.
And then who were your mentors in Atlanta?
I don't know if I had mentors in Atlanta. I mean, I had different people I ran around the city with, but I feel like I was stumbling upon things I didn't really understand at the time. Like, I started working with 2 Chainz at the time was Titty Boy, and they had a song, and I was working with a guy named Gorilla Zoe and
Mhm.
Young Jock. And to me, I would sit in the lobby of these studios and wait hours and hours to just try to play one beat
Yeah.
to see if I could just get one beat on them. And I would go to all these clubs with these people, like, I just need to get one beat. And to get my apartment, I had to get a job. So I worked at Sears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one guy I gave my CD to, threw it on the ground, and his friend picked it up and was like, could use these beats. And so one day I was working at Sears, and he called me and said, "Hey, I'm at the studio. I'm Gorilla Zoe's engineer. Can you pull up and play some beats?" He doesn't have any beats. Shout out to Big A.
Wow. I feel like it's so important what you're talking about, because this is how most people try to get into the industry. It's just do the most, like reach out to anybody you can, hit the streets, pass your stuff out. Like people really still do it that way. Do you think doing it that way is like luck of the draw when it finally pays off? Or do you think there's a way to maneuver doing that can help people?
I think consistency always pays off. If you go to the gym and do 100 push-ups, 200 push-ups a day, you're going to get a big chest. So I feel like being consistent in everything you do is going to be the most important thing
Mhm.
for your career.
So just keep at it.
Keep
basically.
going. Like, don't take 3 months off because you feel like it's cool. Same with social media. Like, I know I do like a lot of funny social media stuff, but I do it to prove the point that if you're consistent, it builds. You
Mm.
go from, oh, I got 5,000 views to, oh, I got 2 million views because you're consistent.
Yeah.
So consistency is the most important thing.
Consistency also breaks down people's perception of you, because there is like a natural progression to how people like hate and then accept. So
Yeah.
I think people resist at first, and then when they see you doubling down in confidence on what you do, then they get on board. I think so.
100%.
100%. I agree with that. You leave Sears, go to this session. Is that like, I don't know if that's like your big break, but I guess in your story, do you feel like that was a big turning point for you?
In my mind, I was like, I'm rich,
Yeah, exactly.
Have
Yeah, yeah.
$100
which I
in my
didn't make.
pocket.
Did they end up releasing that song?
They ended up releasing a song,
Okay.
which it wasn't my favorite song,
Sure.
but they needed another song for the album. So they put the song on the album. I don't even think I got paid. I feel like I signed a producer deck in the studio, no attorney, no
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
It
no
was
idea.
like,
Right.
Yeah,
Sounds
of
about
course.
right.
they're
right?
like, yeah, we're just putting this paperwork up, sign it for us. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
From there, that it was just a point of like, yo, I'm gonna really focus on this and really double down. And I was lucky enough to meet independent artists that wanted to pay for studio time. They
Mm.
recorded in my closet,
Wow.
which paid my bills.
Beautiful.
So you were able to quit Sears after that, or are you still working at Sears?
I didn't check out the cash register. I didn't do anything. I just
Yeah.
literally walked out, got in the car, threw my name tag on the passenger seat,
Right.
and drove as fast as I could.
You have this cut, you quit your job, you're working with independent artists. What's the next thing that happens that kind of moves you along in your story?
So I was working with 2 Chainz, and we had a few releases, and then I ended up getting connected to Rodney Jerkins, Dark Child,
Who just got in the Songwriter Hall of Fame.
and he deserves it.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And I didn't know who he was, but I had a partner named Tommy Parker who I was doing songs with. And he was like, yo, he's one of my favorite producers. Like, let's do this deal. And so we went and did a deal with Rodney. And I didn't know who he was until I met him. And I remember walking into a studio and I was like, wow, it's a lot of plaques in
Yeah, yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just moved into the studio. So all his plaques were on a pool table. And I'm just like, Britney Spears, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
And Cher. And it was just crazy. And I was just like, yo, I'm going to work hard enough. I said, when does he get here? He gets here at 11. I want to be here at 10. When does he eat lunch? I'm going to eat lunch at the same time.
Mm.
When does he leave? I'm going to stay an extra hour. And when I get to the apartment, I'm going to record till I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I was just like, as long as I outwork the person who has this, I could probably get it for myself.
for sure.
That's so strategic. I think that's something, I mean, maybe that maybe people know about you, but maybe not. But that's something that struck me kind of getting to know you, is how strategic you are and everything. And obviously, you know, I think at this level, everybody works hard. You know, maybe you would think, but not everybody is as strategic as you. So that's interesting hearing you break that down, because that is like so strategic to say, oh, this is what he does. If I template that and then just go a little above it, it's going to work.
Yeah.
That's what makes sense to me.
Yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Also, that was probably the first like vision you received of like how far this could go for you. And so like once you see that, you're like incentivized. You're like, okay, this is possible and I can kill it. So I just want to be like that. But if you don't have that vision board in front of you, it's sometimes hard to be like, what's the payoff for this? Like, I don't know. It's just maybe gave you some motivation at that stage in your career.
100%. But in my mind, I'm like, whatever I do, I'm going to give at least 80 or 90%. I won't say I give everything 100%, but I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So as the next kind of big moment is it the Black Eyed Peas? Is that like a big moment for you, or what's the next big moment?
Yeah, that was, I think I was working with Rodney, and then he was like, I got an idea. Let's go and do 10 of the same songs.
How do you mean by
10
that?
of the same songs.
So he was like, piano, drums, vocals. Let's do 10 songs that are very, very similar and pick the best one. And I said, okay. So every day we went in and created like 3 songs until we got to 10. And one of those songs was like, Julie Frost was singing about like a Ferris wheel or something. I don't know what she was talking about, but she was like, this one is sticky. And they were like, Kanye wants this song because it sounded like Heartbreaks and 808s. I was like, yo, no way.
Oh, dude. Yeah, because that's your hero.
Yeah, I was like, yo, there's no way that this is going to happen. So they put the DVD of the files, and every day I went to the studio, I seen the DVD just sit there. And I was like, he's not taking the song. And one day I seen it gone, and I was like, what happened to the files? It's like, will.i.am picked them up. Wow. It's like, will.i.am. I was like, what is will.i.am going to do with that song? It's like a ballad 808 thing. And, you know, iTunes used to have you could preview the song for 10 seconds.
Right, yeah.
And so I was on there and I was like, this sounds like the chorus of our song. Because I listen to everything. It's like, this sounds like the chorus of our song. And Rodney was like, I'm going to check, which he already knew. And then the song hit the radio. And I was like, there's no way I got a top 10 hit.
Wow.
Wait, so you were like not even aware that you had a credit on the song, or what? Break that down, because
When it first came out, my name wasn't on the song.
Wow.
So I went to the store and waited until they opened the store to get the album, and my name wasn't in it.
What'd you
How
do?
did that feel? Yeah, what was it?
This is when I found out a publisher was a real thing. Like I never knew there was offices for publishers. So I went to the publisher, and it was Big John.
Oh yeah.
And then
That was the first publisher that you met with, this Big John?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. So I was like, yo, I need to know what's going on with my credit on a hit song.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, we have it in the computer and we can get it fixed. But I was like, it's not on the album in the store.
Of course, which means so much, you know, at that point.
Yeah, I'm telling my family, I'm like, yo, I'm on this song. We worked on this song. And they're like, he's lying, man. And I'm like,
Wow.
I promise.
Wow.
And when it's your first, you're like, ain't no way.
Ain't no way.
So you learned probably a lot about the business from that process. Because when I think about you now, I think about you as a businessman. Did that teach you a lot about the business?
It did. It just made me dot my I's and cross my T's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did that get resolved like in a way that you were okay with?
Yeah, it got resolved. I'm really like a person who wants to be very frictionless. Like I don't want to have to fight with somebody. Like if you want an extra 2%, take it. Like I'm not about to fight you over a song and argue. Like just take it, because I know with me, I'm going to get 100 more and another 100 because I'm so dedicated to the craft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the big scheme of things, it'll all even out. That's a good way to look at it.
So you signed with Big John?
I was signed to Big John through Rodney.
Okay. Got it.
Perfect. So at some point, I don't want to skip too much, but you get to LA. Is that, and then I kind of, in the big scheme of things, I think about Ariana kind of next. Can you talk about that? All the events that led up to that.
So me and Rodney ended up going our separate ways. Which was fine. It wasn't like a bad thing. And then I was just like, I need to work with like a Katy Perry. I don't know, like a Kanye. And then they were like, yo, I did this song called Honeymoon Avenue.
Yeah, I know that song. Good one.
Yeah, and they were like, there's this girl that's on Nickelodeon and she might like the song. We could get you in a session with her. And I was just like, okay, cool. And then they're like, Nick Jonas is going to be writing the session. And I said, I'm going to meet the Jonas Brothers. I'm doing the Jonas Brothers album.
That's funny.
And so I got in there and me and her met and I was telling her about like a more retro sound that I was working on. And I played her some of the music and she liked it. And we ended up doing a song called Honeymoon Avenue.
So while you came in kind of with that concept and, and presented it to her?
No, we did 2 songs and
I see.
I really didn't love the songs.
Okay.
I was like, they're cool, but I think
Right.
we could do something cooler.
Yeah.
And then when I played her Honeymoon Avenue, we ended up cutting that song. And then she came back to the studio and was like, I got this idea to do like a doo-wop-y song, but like a more electronic beat. And we did a song called Daydreaming. And those were the 2 songs that I had on the first album.
Wow.
Amazing. So what was the friendship like between the two of you?
Oh, I mean, it's been a long friendship
But did you hit it off right away in that session? Or did it take time to build?
she was like 16, 17. So it's hard to be like friends with like a 17-year-old.
Sure,
you know what I
sure.
mean? So, but we had conversations. I'm like, yo, they gotta want to be you for Halloween. Like, if you want to be a superstar, how can they dress up as you? And we had those different kind of conversations. And I feel like it grew from there. And then, you work a lot and then you kind of distance happens. And then
Yeah.
she has a hit with Mac Miller. And it was gigantic, written by Seven Streeter.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is wild.
Yeah. And so then we reconnected after that. And we've done probably over 50 songs, between 50 and 100 songs since then.
Okay. Yeah. So you go on this incredible run with Ariana. You have 2 in the first one, then it seems like it just builds like every album and every album. What was that process like so far as, I think a lot of people have a perception of like, oh, you probably just were in the studio nonstop with her, for years and years and years. Is that what it was like? Or is it more like, okay, we're going to have these targeted time periods where we kind of work on stuff?
I think the turning point with me and her was I was at the concert because I always would on tour when she was on tour, at least for certain dates. And I was watching, I was like, man, I got so many songs in this set. And I was like, I made it. And then that Max Martin song come on at the end and it was like confetti and everything. I said, fuck that.
Oh, man.
I need the song with the confetti. And so the next album, that's what I did. Wow.
Got it.
That's interesting. I think that's maybe a good reminder to a lot of writers to like get out and like see shows.
It's important because if you don't go to the shows, you can't see what the people love. Like you're sitting in
Yeah.
the studio writing songs for you. You're
Right.
not writing songs for the people.
Right.
You either feed your soul or feed your family.
Yeah, that is such a good reminder. Yeah, you look around and like, okay, this is what our audience is, and you can see how they react right now. And you see the artist, and at the end of the day, the artist has to be able to perform the songs. Like that is really at the end of the day what makes artists a ton of money, right?
100%.
And they've got to believe it and be able to sing it. And sometimes, like you said, we would have confetti falling down and doing the dance. Like it's so important, I think, to remember.
I think, when I think about an artist like Ariana, who's had such a long career and so many variations of her career, how do you build like long-term trust with an artist like that to where they keep coming back to you even after they venture off? Because it's really common for an artist to break with somebody and then experiment with others and then circle back.
I think you just got to be irreplaceable in what you do. I think if you go in and do what everybody else does, you could be replaced. But I think if you bring your own thing to the table, it's hard to find somebody else that does the same thing.
In y'all's scenario, like if you don't mind me asking, like what in your perception, what do you see like that you were doing that everybody else wasn't doing?
I mean, I just feel like I was bringing like the flavor to pop music. I feel like I was bringing, like, I remember people saying, yo, those chords will never work on radio. But I was like, I'm going to bring R&B pop to the mainstream.
Hmm.
And I don't really think it was a thing at that time. I don't think R&B pop on the radio was a thing for an artist that wasn't black.
Mm. Okay, so you're producing for artists like Ariana Grande. At what point in your career do you say, "Hey, I want to like transition to be more of an executive"?
I don't think I ever like made that as a decision. I feel like I had got a house. I went through a breakup and I was living in like a big house by myself. This had to be around like 2014, 2013, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? Let's put studios in every room. And then we started creating, and then I started building. And the first acts I signed was Social House, Scooty and Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
And we just built from there. And I never would have thought it came here, but we just all built businesses. Now everybody has their own houses, their own situations, and just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of happened.
I love that. It's like to kind of keep everybody in the house, like just to keep people around and have that sense of community. That's how you you brought all the rooms to you and made it under your roof.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mentioned it in the intro too. I feel like if you look at your career, one of the things I think is really cool is that you really do lift everyone up around you. And I think a lot of people see it as like a zero-sum game. And and like if you win, I lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you don't have that mentality at all. You're like, hey, I want everybody to win.
Yeah, my thing is, and I speak to my team about this, I would really prefer somebody on my team walking across the Grammy stage and getting a Grammy and me feeling like I helped them do that versus me going across the stage and it doesn't matter what Grammy I get. I'd rather them get in me being like, I was able to help somebody from a small town, a big town, whatever, go and get what they always dreamed of. To me, that's more important.
I have another question. I feel like this is just like a really important thing to talk about, like songwriter to executive, because there's so many people that aspire to have a career like yours. So what would you like, what's your advice to writers that want to transition into the executive role? Like, would you recommend doing things a certain way? What are the do's and don'ts?
I think my advice would be build your foundation first. You can't be an executive if you don't already have your foundation. It's important to be able to say I did it and show, like, I would always go to my artists like, you're not using social media and da-da-da. And then I'm like, it's redundant and preachy. So what I'll do is go use social media and show you that it's possible. And then let's see if you can keep up. Like you can go and tell people to do 100 things, but showing them is something completely different.
Yeah.
Leading by example.
100%.
Well, let's shift into hit makers.
Yep.
And we always ask people kind of the first question is, how did you end up on the show? What was that process like?
Well, me and Harvey Mason had a conversation maybe a year or two prior. And he called me and said, hey, remember I talked to you about doing the TV show? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, are you still down to do it? And I was just like nonchalant, like, yeah, it'll be cool. Just let me know. He was like, all right,
you didn't
cool.
take it seriously at that point?
I didn't take it seriously until we landed in the Bahamas. And I was like, oh, this is a real thing.
You're like, I'm still not taking it seriously.
I'm like,
guys.
yeah, we'll go down there. It's going to be a couple iPhones or whatever, a little couple Canons. I'm like, yo, there's 10 cameras in here.
Wow. So you didn't really understand like how big it was until we got filming.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy.
It was crazy. When we dropped down in Bahamas, that felt very real, very fast. Like from Miami, that quick little layover, we spent the night in Miami and then we were in Bahamas. And the second we were mic'd up, we were constantly surrounded by like 50 people and
for the next month,
walking in and out of buildings multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it all worked out.
I want to talk about your walk out of the airport in that green tracksuit. The confidence that is oozing out of you, but just laid back, like, did he sleep on the plane? Is he just like, dude, you have this, like, you're so relaxed and so comfortable in that walk. What are you thinking in your mind as your first shot of Hitmakers walking out of that airport?
Yo, we got to make sure we get this white Hennessy over to the condo.
Well, this is what's crazy to me too. Just overarching thought.
I'm thinking it's gonna be this big thought.
You did not sleep. I don't know when you slept because you would stay up so late every night. I think in Miami you didn't even go to sleep the night before we landed.
You didn't?
No, we were. I think Where did we go to the casino? I think we went to the
think
casino.
you went to
You
the
or
and
casino.
something.
Seven.
Yes, me, Seven, and a couple of our friends went to the casino. We were there to
Yeah.
like almost like the morning.
Yeah, it's so crazy
I
to
was
me that you
so-
could even function and then you look good at the same time. That was wild.
Korean skincare, baby.
There you go. There you go. He's all about it.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's funny. One of my favorite little scenes in the beginning is like we're walking through the house and I say, "Oh, that's like a big bed by the pool. Is that yours, Tommy?" And you say, "Probably."
It's actually, you have a funny way on the show of saying wild things and making them so funny and so charming. That it really is a skill.
This is another question I've been wanting to ask you. Like, how fast? Because I started calling you like a producer on the show because Tommy would look at the whole cast and see everything that's going on, and I could see you identifying storylines and breaking down people, what made people tick, and like your strategy became, like your strategic mind was evident to me. Like, at what point in the process of the show did you go like, I'm gonna start kind of seeing this as a producer?
I mean, I don't know if I was seeing it like that. I just
Okay.
feel like I was just being me. Like I'm just like,
That just is natural to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Steven kept messing with me, and I'm like,
just
yo,
Right in.
leave me alone. I was like, we don't have to do this.
Okay, backtracking a little bit. So you get off the plane in Bahamas, you do your star walk very successfully. We get to the house. What is your like initial take of the cast as a whole?
I think I was trying to learn and understand because I know everybody separately except for Ben and Nova Wave.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and then we came together. I'm just like, let's kind of learn. And I think that's why that sit down at the table when we first got there was so important to kind of see where everybody's energy and thought process was
Yeah.
to know what we were getting into.
Yeah, that first dinner that we had in Bahamas, I feel like we kind of got a chance to know each other a little bit.
Mhm.
Did you see any like potential challenges at that dinner where you're like, oh, this is going to be tricky for us?
I don't know if I seen challenges that were going to be tricky. I think I seen everybody trying to understand what we were doing as myself as
Mhm.
well. So it's like trying to figure out, we have all these cameras, we have all these producers, all these people moving around and figuring out, okay, we're not in the studio anymore. So what are we going to do while we're here? And I feel like in everybody's mind, they had their own thought of what we were going to do. But I think after we realized that we were all wrong.
Well, no, that's a really interesting thought. It feels like maybe different cast members had different intentions, perhaps, or I don't know. But like, I'm sure everybody had their own goal of making the show and why they were going on it. Was yours to show up and deliver and make great records? Was it, let's make a good show? Like, what was your intention of doing the show?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like when when they put us in the room and it was me, Ben, and Seven, like the first episode, I was like terrified. I was like,
You were?
what?
Oh, I was.
You were terrified. What were you
That's
scared
actually
of?
funny. Yeah.
Because I never know.
Were you
Like,
intimidated by me?
Probably.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
No, I never know what I'm gonna do when I walk in the room. Like I don't go into the room like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go in here and make this. I'm just like, la 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 la. Like I'm here. Like what should we do? And he started playing the piano, and I was like, oh, I definitely don't know what we're gonna do.
Oh, wow.
Because he started playing those chords, and I was like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I like cut up some drums and everything, and I'm like, okay, cool. I got a little groove on the drums.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is a vibe.
Yeah.
And then we just started throwing out lyrics. He came up with the hook, and it was like, okay, we got something. But I never
Yeah.
think it's good when we're doing it. I'm like, it's okay. And then,
Yeah.
Right.
we do it. It's
That's
like,
something I think a lot of other songwriters and creatives could like learn from is like trying to judge your work in the middle of doing it is probably the worst thing you can do. Like
Agreed.
you don't know really what you've created. Honestly, sometimes for a long time.
Yeah.
It could take 2 years and a song you thought was like crap ends up being a huge hit. So it's like
Yeah, and-
it's really better to stay in the moment and like how do you feel? Like is this fun? Is it creative? Rather than going like, is this the biggest song of all time? I think sometimes that can lead you down like a pretty tough road. But Yeah, I remember just like my first impressions working with you was, and I mentioned it on the show, was obviously you're known as a producer.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, like as a Nashville guy coming to LA and doing writes, when you get set up with a producer, like you just don't expect them to write very much. I think that's kind of fair. A lot of producers
I
just
agree.
produce, and not saying they can't write. It's just like what they're expected to do. And I think one thing that what I was like really impressed by was like you were staying engaged. And this is like knowing you now. You have this top down view of everything. You're like looking at the whole thing, and you go, "Oh, okay, we need some lyrical help here." And I remember something you say a lot that stuck with me is like you go ABC 1 2 3,
Yeah.
and you say, "Let's keep it simple." And like there were times in the song where I think it could have gotten more complicated, and you go, no, let's keep it simple right here.
Yeah.
I think is that something that you think about like pretty much every session is like how simple can we make it?
Yeah, because I think us being as talented as we are, singers, writers, producers, everything, we all want to show what we can do. And sometimes it doesn't take all of that.
Mm,
ABC, like we're writing this for somebody in 5th grade.
mm.
Like we don't need to go do all this complicated stuff because they're not going to understand it. So let's keep it simple.
Yeah, I think I saw that in your critiques of like concepts and lyrics, especially. I mean, you and I actually were in a couple sessions where you were challenging me to just, which I mean, of course, I know as a writer, like say it in a relatable way, but you were even pushing me to when I thought I had a really relatable lyric of like, you, you not understanding it was a sign to me that maybe I needed to push. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And just kind of get it to a place that I wasn't seeing it. So I think that your perspective on that was super valuable, to be honest.
Thank you. Because you know what it is? I'm around and I go back to when I go back to high school when I was around all of these different groups of people, like the cool people, the not cool people, the nerds, the computer people, like when computers weren't even popular, like being around all these people, I feel like I learned 5 languages of the same language
Mhm.
because there's different languages even though we speak English. Like if I go hang with my friends that's in the hood, they speak a different language than I
Right.
speak to my friends in Beverly Hills.
Totally.
So it's like understanding how to speak amongst like when that's why I thought when it was like thank you next was such a brilliant lyric because everybody
You would
knows
say that in
what
a
thank you
conversation.
is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's finding those key things that everybody knows versus it being like, okay, this is these 2 groups of people versus these 5 groups of people.
Well, I think
100%.
nothing encapsulates that thought better to me than "Happy Birthday to Me." I
Mhm.
think the show's been out a few days now, and it's kind of cool to see what a lot of people are responding to. My friends, at least, and I'll say it too. When I look back at the show, that's my favorite song from the show, and a lot of my friends are saying the same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and it's so brilliant because it is so simple, and part of it is like we mentioned on the show, but I want to talk about it again here. You just being observant.
Mhm.
How much does that apply to your everyday work? Like just being observant, and how often does that happen for you?
I mean, to me, I don't know. I'm gonna blame it on the ADHD. I don't
Mm.
know. But I see everything, even things I don't want to see. And sometimes I just let it go and
Y-
be what it is.
Yeah,
But like we're out there, you're teaching us how to dance.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, oh, this first person to taught me how to dance. Let me figure. I'm like, this is like the country electric slide.
Yeah, it
Like,
didn't show it
Yeah.
on the show, but I'll rewind for a second. We're on the way to Broadway, and the producer turns to me and she says, "You can teach everyone how to line dance, right?" And I said, "What?" And
You're from Nashville,
she
right?
said, "Yeah, you know how to do that." And I'm like, "We have 5 minutes to get to the place." And I YouTube how to teach a
course.
line dance. And I learned it in the car. As we're walking out, we're
wow.
walking in there. I'm looking at the phone to teach it to everybody.
That's
and
the
of
most
course,
Ben thing I've ever heard.
it worked out all right. Everybody
It
kind of
worked.
got the hang of it. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Look like it.
But yeah, I mean, tell us even more. Is there anything that wasn't shown on like the Happy Birthday? Just because I think that's such a great song. I think people would be interested to hear. And
I mean, I just think we were there, and then there was different people walking up to us, and someone was like, "It's my birthday." I was like, "Oh, okay. Let's see what song they play here for her birthday."
yeah,
Because in LA they may play 50 Cent or they may play Jeremiah, but I'm like, they didn't play a birthday song.
mm,
So I was
Mm.
like, okay, cool. So when we got to the studio, I slept on it, and then I got up and was like, you know what? We need to make the birthday song.
wow.
Wow.
And so
That's pretty awesome. I mean, that couldn't be more observant of just like what a moment needs and how you can fill it with your own craft is genius.
100%.
Also, Home for Dinner kind of came from that, our night out too. Like, I feel like you got a lot of creativity out of being social and being out just living your life.
100%. So for me, I travel a lot. I go to a lot of different countries. And every time I go to a country or go somewhere else, like I just was in Georgia, I want to go to the club and see what they listen
Yeah.
to. Like, my boys could go talk to whoever they want. They could be like, yo, I met 50 girls. I'm like, that's cool. I want to hear what they're listening to.
Yeah.
Like, because you're around different kind of people. Like, I'm in Georgia and I'm like, oh, they're just listening to dance music. And even though you're with tough people that's like gangsters or whatever it is, but they're listening to dance music. Okay, this is what they listen to here. This is what they listen to here. Okay, I need to sit somewhere around here. But the thing I do know that everybody listens to around the world is R&B. And I think people try to like play down R&B, but R&B is everywhere in the world. Everybody listens to R&B in every country.
It's a much bigger common thread than I think we think, and how it also bleeds into country music too. Okay, so Bahamas, like 1 out of 10, where are you putting Bahamas?
I think it was great because I think we were learning. I think by the time we got to Nashville or the time we got to Cabo, we've already learned what we were dealing with. So I feel like everybody did an awesome job. For the first time, people was like, hey, all right, make a song right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You got 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
It's so much
Totally.
faster than it says on the show. I know we've mentioned it on other podcasts. It says 6 hours on the show. It was never 6 hours. It was so fast. My friends in the industry can't believe it. They're like, oh, y'all had longer than 6 hours. I'm like, no, it was probably 3.5 hours. It
Right.
was very,
and
very short.
a lot of us like had never worked. Like, I know our session with Jenna, like that was the first time Jenna and I had ever worked together.
Yeah.
And so we spent the first, I want to say 2 to 3 hours talking, trying to find something I think organically that we could talk about, and then finally like dished out a concept. But I think when we knew that we were short on time, but a lot of it was social, just genuinely trying to connect with each other. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I don't think people understand how important it is to date before marriage. And I feel like
Which is interesting because you
the
said
opposite of what you say on the
date
show.
until
So
get
you want to clear
married.
the air here?
Uh-oh.
I said what I said. No, but I think it's important because how you supposed to go in the room and make a hit with somebody you don't know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's tough. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I'm just waiting on somebody to arrange something. You know what I'm saying?
but that was funny though. I can't believe I said. I look back, it's like I said what?
Oh, I think we all said stuff. We have no idea why we said what we
I
said.
said I'm going to start dating after I get married. It's insane.
But see, that goes along with some of the funny things you would say that we would instantly just be like, that's a joke. You know
Yes,
what I
of
mean?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
But anybody
I
that
agree.
knows me knows, like, I joke like that. So it's like
Mhm.
joking and then being on TV and people still learning you through the TV process,
Yeah.
and then you don't necessarily get to see the edits.
Right.
It's
Right.
like you're like, okay, now I just learned again
Right.
after I watched the
Yeah.
show.
Right.
So
Well, you know what though? I really thought like one of the early scenes in the show that gave you a lot of heart and that showed us that you were a great guy was your talk with Trey. I thought that was really nice because obviously he had a moment in the Bahamas that he wasn't very comfortable with. And I think you really clocked that in Trey. And I think you approaching him and having that conversation showed how observant and empathetic you were.
yeah, I mean, I love Trey, and it was a conversation me and him had that wasn't used in the show. That I was like making breakfast, and they were like, "Yo, can we just mic y'all up?" I'm like, "It's an hour early," but they were like, "I was like, okay, cool." And I'm like making breakfast, and Trey was like, "Yesterday when we had a talk, it was the first time I felt heard by straight men."
Oh, wow.
And to me, that was like a big thing because a lot of people don't understand. And I hate that people don't understand like connecting with things that are not of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be gay to connect to somebody who's gay and have a great friendship with that. And like
Of course.
a lot of times coming up in the pop world, you're surrounded by that. And I've had a long time learning because coming where I come from, it's not so accepted. So when you get into the world, you're kind of learning what it is to be a people of what they choose to be.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And in our world, it's the job is to connect and to find
100%.
those points of intersection, because we often go in rooms with artists that we might not have anything in common with, but it doesn't matter because we're going to find where our worlds collide.
100%. Like I have just as much fun with my friends back home, my friends here, and just like Trey, I spoke to Trey for like an hour today. Like me and Trey had an awesome time, and he's like, stop picking on me, and I'm not picking on you. You're just my friend. So
Right.
Yeah.
like,
honestly, it is a sign, I think, that you like somebody when you give them a hard time. Like, I got a little bit of the Tommy, like, you know, I got picked on a little bit for my lyrics, for my over-sexualized lyrics. But it's okay.
Such a sexual writer.
Yeah, such a sexual
I'm
writer.
like, where is it coming from?
See, that's the Tommy the producer. He's looking at it and going, this is a good storyline.
Yeah. No, I mean, the session in the Bahamas, they were good. So Nashville, yeah, how would you say Nashville was different than Bahamas? We were all, you said, a little bit more settled in, but
I don't know. I feel like in the Nashville, we were in more close quarters. And I feel like we were able to like bond more in Nashville. We went out, we did
Rode
dancing,
horses.
we rode. I don't talk about that.
I think you should, because nobody's spoken about it. And I feel like people didn't even realize what you guys did for a full day.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm not even going to do. I'm not getting on a horse. And they're like, yeah, this is our horse, Lightning. He's like our fastest, strongest horse. I'm like, bro.
I cannot believe I didn't get a chance to see this.
I got some great pics of you on horse. Come on.
Oh, yeah, you did. I was like, and then I get on the horse and I'm like, why is my horse walking sideways?
It was walking sideways. Tommy's horse just went like this. And I think you went across the arena one time and got off. But let me tell you, on Instagram, you would not have known that.
You would not have.
It looked like you were wrangling horses on Instagram.
I wasn't there. Jay Hart and I went shopping that day. That was our outing. So I only heard things. But when I heard that you were on a horse named Lightning, I had instant FOMO. I was like, how did I not see this?
Oh my God.
Did you almost fall off? Or
no, just like, it's just, I like to be in control of my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you get on a horse and then they say, they go off of your energy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no wonder he was walking sideways because we were all lit.
right. There was some drinking on the show, I will say. Especially in Cabo, I think when it was the home stretch, a couple breakups had happened, some fights had taken place.
That's true. Well, can I tell you something too? I don't know if I told anybody else, but in Bahamas, Kimberly, our amazing showrunner, she told me, I think we were like halfway through the week, and I was talking to her, asking about how things were going. She said, well, we got enough alcohol for what we thought was for the whole week. And she said it was gone in the first night.
And I don't even drink.
I wasn't drinking either.
Tommy, I don't know if y'all weren't drinking. I don't know.
No, it sure looks like it. It looks like I'm pounding drinks with you guys, but those were all non-alcoholic drinks, guys, just by the way.
I think us being creatives, like, we were trying to adapt to being on camera.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we got to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And then we're also having a good time. We're celebrating. At this point, it's like, we're now here. We made it.
Yeah.
We made it further than a lot of songwriters and producers ever do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for me, that was the importance of the show. Like the importance of the show for me wasn't to go and make a hit. It was to show writers and producers that there's another platform that they can use.
Yeah.
To kind of take them where they want to go versus just being like, I'm waiting for whatever X artist album to come out for me to make money. Like there's other avenues that you can step into and give them the motivation that they can go somewhere else.
Specifically, I feel like you're one of the biggest voices in our industry.
Especially on Instagram right now.
Talking about social media.
It's getting pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of using humor to shine a light on some issues that we have in our industry. Do you want to break that down here at all? Like how you kind of see the industry right now?
I think it's tough. I think the industry is going through a shift right now because it's now being more independent. And more independent artists get a platform, but it's also still being ran by these big giants. And the reason I do the comedy videos on socials is because I feel like comedy goes further than hate. Like I feel like hate goes a certain place, but comedy gets shared. Like, and I feel like when I do comedy videos and they get shared, people are like, Yeah, but that's really how it is. And I feel
Mhm.
like it's opened a lot more doors for me and having conversations with CEOs and different people to talk about what the real problems are.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of spoke about this yesterday. Like, I think LA and the pop scene, it's much more of a producer's game than it's ever been a songwriter's game. Whereas Nashville, songwriters are more like the professional athletes of the town. Like they're the celebrities and they have billboards with their faces on them. So, as a producer that works in LA and has conquered the pop space, how do you think songwriters should get compensated fairly as of today?
The label puts it on the producer,
Mhm.
but the producer should not be responsible for a songwriter getting paid. A songwriter's manager should be in contact with the label to get paid. And I think that's what it should be. I think because a lot of times labels like, well, talk to the producer. The producer doesn't want to take care of you. And they're like, yeah, the producer should take care of it. And I think it's two separate deals. I don't think it's a deal that if I'm getting a fee for this, that it has to be taken away from my fee to pay the songwriter. I think the songwriter should have a separate deal for the song to be released with the label. I don't think that's fair that the songwriters don't have a deal. Like they're sending songwriters like split sheets to sign versus sending like an actual deal for them to do it. If you're going to put the song out, like let's all make a deal.
Yeah,
Like,
especially in today's world. You touched on it earlier, but I think I saw a stat yesterday. It was like 51% of hits last year were independent artists. Like for
Mhm.
the first time, was more independent than major labels. So it's like their deals are set up usually in such a way where they have more ownership that they can spread around. You know, some of the older deals, the artists don't have any more ownership to give away. You know, trying to use simple words here for
yeah, yeah,
people,
yeah,
but
yeah.
in today's world, these artists actually do have enough ownership where you know you can spread the money
You
all
can
around.
spread it around, as
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
say. Do you think from the label, like despite who spearheads the conversations, what do you think songwriters should be asking for and what do you think they should be receiving? Is it a fee? Is it points? Is it what do you think?
I think everybody works out the deal that they deserve. Like I feel like certain songwriters, like I see a lot of people pushing like all songwriters should be paid. But like if you wake up and decide to be a songwriter tomorrow, does that mean you're employed? Like I think it should be songwriters who are actually in there. Like if a label calls you in to do a session with their artist, you should be compensated. Like even if it's just per diem. Like even if it's just like, yo, here's $100 for the day to eat and gas.
Mm.
Like something, like it has to be some type of system because you can't keep showing up and not making any money. It doesn't make any sense. It's going to kill the game. And I feel like that's why now we have less hits this year than like
Oh,
ever
wow.
before. This year we have like less hits.
You're right.
Not having a middle class of songwriter, you think we're already seeing the effects of that?
I mean, you could look at the stats.
It's
There's
true. We don't have a song of the summer. We have rollover songs from last year.
or we have like songs that were hits 6 months ago that's still like
Yeah.
going now, which is incredible. I love like the hit songwriters of today who are really getting paid, but I think there's definitely a middle class of songwriting that's not being compensated for their work.
Mhm.
Freakishly talented writers too that just don't have
100%.
a space to survive. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about that because I've always thought that the way to get a marginalized group up is for the more emboldened group above them to help bring them up. And so for me, I've spoken about songwriter rights and done a lot of advocacy, and I do feel like it would be super helpful if producers went to bat for songwriters because sometimes when the managers and producers or sorry, publishers come from the outside, it can look a little grabby. I don't necessarily believe that it should come out of the fee or anything like that of a producer, but being involved in the conversation, I've always wondered if there's something that producers could help songwriters with to help bring them up or highlight those conversations like, hey, make a point to thank you for my fee, make a point to connect with the writer and get them paid as well. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't really have the answer. I don't believe producers should get their money taken from them, but is there more that they can do to help the songwriter?
I think it's tricky. That's like saying somebody who's your coworker to kind of help you get a higher level job. Like it's tough because we're expecting everybody to be good people. A lot of
Mhm.
people are only looking out for themselves. So we can't just look at it and be like, well, now y'all as a group of people, y'all help. I work with a lot of people that I don't like. But at the same time, it's like I don't expect them to do something for me. And that's the toughest part because it's the expectations. It's like working with an artist and you give them a hit and expecting them to shout you out on a Grammy stage.
Right.
Doesn't happen.
Right. Doesn't happen.
Right.
I mean, some artists do, but not all of them.
Rare.
So it's like you're expecting.
It's not an expected protocol that always happens. So
it's not. Somebody's like, oh, I got kids, I got bills, I'm getting my money, and I'm going my certain way. And I think it's tough, and I feel like that's why it needs to be, even if it's a union or whatever's put in place to help with that, because I don't think it's fair. I don't even think it's fair to be honest for producers either to go and do these songs and they're going on these platforms and you're not being paid after the first day. And
that's what I was going to say. I think people think sometimes the road to producers contracts is a lot easier than it is. Like even the producers are having to fight really hard sometimes to even get paid for projects. A lot of times is like moving heaven and earth. So I don't know what the answer is, but I do think sometimes the perception is like, oh, these producers, that should be easy for them to just talk to the label. And it's like, no, the producers are trying to get the label to even compensate them.
To them.
It's not.
No, I think that's just an interesting thing to hear from your guys' perspective because you're both songwriters and producers. And obviously I'm a songwriter. So, you always wonder, like, is there room where conversations could be had that they're not being had? But it's interesting to get your guys' take on like, no, like we're fighting to even get paid ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. The biggest problem is that I see from my overlooking thing that where I look at things, I just think everybody's not together.
Yeah.
I feel like when everybody can put their ego to the side, and I noticed that with the TV show releasing, right? Because we do so many different things for people in the music industry. And as an expectation, you're like, yo, we did a show for songwriters and producers to be on the stage. And then you see songwriters and producers who are like, ew, I can't believe they did that show. And it's like, we can't come together in a space to where it's supportive to build up the platform because artists are going to do features with each other. They're going to, if Nicki's not hot, Drake could get on the song. If Drake's not hot, Wayne could get on the song. Like they uplift each other, but it's such a competitive business. I feel like we all don't come together to be like, you know what, let's all sit in a room and figure it out.
Right.
And that's the biggest problem of it all. That everybody's so like, you know what, I would have never did that show because it's corny. No, you would have did the show if they called. But they just didn't call. So it's like, until we could band together, it's not gonna be a change.
That was a great aside. Let's take it back to Cabo real quick. And the first, I think it was the first session in Cabo, us three write. So it's the only time we've all been in a room. We actually did write another song before Location.
They did us dirty.
Yeah. That was actually a pretty decent song.
Sir.
And a lot of the clips they used, or we had like a quick 30 minutes to an hour to write another song. And that's when Tommy went around and did stuff. And we're like, where's Tommy? But the context, we had already written a song. But of course, they didn't use that song. Talk about that day. I felt like the vibes were, even though we actually did our job that day, it felt like the vibes were a little different. Do you have any perception on that? I'm just curious.
I think when we went to Cabo, we were all just a little tired. I feel like we've done a lot of camera work, a lot of things, and then it's like, let's write for Usher. And I feel like for me, I've actually written several songs with Usher. But the thing is, I feel like with Usher being the creative he is and not in the room, it's tough to be like, let me get in his brain. He has a very after working with him, he understands what he wants to do. And it's tough trying to write for somebody who knows what they want. It's like,
that's interesting perspective.
So you were bringing the insight of what you knew about the artist into the session, I guess, and the writing process, and knowing that we didn't have the tools that we needed.
Yeah, I don't think we had the tools, and I think the biggest tool we needed was Usher.
Right.
So you didn't give up on us.
No, I didn't give up on y'all. I just was like, it's.
Well, I knew that because we had already done a song. So to me, it was kind of like, in retrospect, none of us loved the second song anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, maybe he gave up on the second song, which is fine. But I wasn't any type of, I guess, overarching thought on you. Yeah, how do you feel like it went down with Steven? Do you have any thoughts now that the show's out? You see the edit, or do you feel like it went well? It didn't go well? Do you have any thoughts? Just curious.
I think the edit is always going to be the edit. And I feel like everybody's not going to love the edit.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Jenna and Steven have their own way they have the relationship like everybody else. There's people who are like, I'm a swinger. And people may be like, that's not right. You shouldn't do that. I feel like they have like a love, like they have a certain kind of love and a certain kind of like rough love with each other that works for them.
Mm.
So like I'm not there to judge it. And I really honestly don't think anybody should tell anybody how to talk to their girl or tell a girl how to talk to her man. I feel like they should be able to communicate how they communicate because maybe that's what brought them close in the beginning.
So you wouldn't have approached Steven
So maybe
that
you would
way?
have done that approach on was it the beach scene with you and Harv? Is that kind of what you're referencing?
It was a lot of high emotions, but I do think you shouldn't do that. Like I think if however y'all communicate in private, I think the disrespectful thing is doing that in public because maybe that's what y'all like. Maybe y'all like talking to each other like that. I don't know. But I don't think you should do that in front of guests.
I see.
So I feel like if that's how y'all handle each other with each other, not in front of guests.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective. That's nuanced, but I think that is important. You're not saying y'all can't talk to each other like that. You're like, hey, just don't do that in front of everybody else.
Yeah, I'm not your parent. I'm not here to, I don't have any kids. So I'm not here to parent anybody, but in front of people, that's not cool.
I see.
Okay.
So as like a bigger question, is there anything that you would take out of the show? And is there anything that you wish was in the show that isn't?
The thing I wish was more in the show was us talking about songwriter rights, how it needs to be a change because it's such a big platform. And I think it would have been important to talk about that because it's a real thing. I mean, I run a publishing company and we have a lot of writers and producers, and I see statements and I understand how people are trying to survive and eat. And I wish there was something bigger that I can do, but I'm learning every day like everybody else is and how I can be put in a position. So I feel like taking the show and doing the show that it gives us a bigger platform to talk about it than somebody who's just in a room writing a song.
Right.
And that's why I think I'll double down on it and say that's why I think it's important that songwriters and producers support what we're doing because it gives us a bigger platform to have the conversation versus being like, I don't think it was cool. They didn't write hits.
Tommy, you're right. Like it's unavoidably the truth. I have seen in my 13 years of songwriting, every single time a songwriter, whether it's in a group or an individual, sticks their neck out for this community to try to do something good. I don't know why, but it's like they get pulled down. It's like, you're not going to be the one. I don't know. Or there's a lot of criticism before there's a lot of like camaraderie. And I think I guess it's because the industry is just so competitive and that's become the nature. Like everybody's perhaps fearful. I don't know.
And you know what's crazy? From what my perspective is in my view, likes are free, shares are free, DMs are free, repost, anything. And I'm just like, the support that I've seen from the show has been from people who are not in the music business.
Interesting.
I have not seen people publicly support it who's in the music business. And it's the first TV show of its kind. Songland was an amazing show, but it was also a different kind of show. Building the Band is also a different kind of show. What the highlight songwriters and producers going in a room and really being naked in front of the world because you're writing songs from scratch and you can go have an off day.
Yeah.
Not being supported by singers, songwriters, producers, writers, whatever.
Do you have a specific reason why you think that is?
Everybody in the music industry wants to be cool.
Hmm.
And I feel like when they stop liking Drake, everybody's like, you know what? We don't like Drake anymore. It's not cool to like Drake. And I think that's like a terrible point of view to have. Like, if you like Drake, like Drake. And I feel like everybody's like, do we like the show? Actually, they're not writing hits. I didn't like the way they wrote that Usher song. Like, who cares? Build the platform up because you could be the next one to walk in. We're trying to go and expand what everybody can and can do. Like, we just need to support each other. And that's the biggest issue.
Yeah. And I think we spoke about this yesterday with Jay too. It's like, as a creative, watching the show, there will be a time in your career where you're going to have to put yourself out there, whether it's you wanting to release your own music, you wanting to start an initiative for songwriters, you wanting to go and perform your songs live. And that will take a certain amount of courage to do that for yourself. So honor courage whenever you see it within the creative community, despite whether you would do it that way or not.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's funny because when I go and do the content, because I do like a lot of funny whatever content, but then I look and I'm like, I'm one of the only people in the music industry that does that content because everybody's scared to like, how's it gonna look? I was in the studio the other night and I'm scrolling down, I see my content on the timeline, and I'm like, Snoop Dogg posted multiple of my videos, but I would have never had that platform of his 88 million followers if I was like, you know what? I'm scared to say we only make 47 cents because I want to make it look like we make $200 million. Like the truth is the truth. So at the end of the day, it's like, don't be afraid to lean into it and come together and do what you need to do. Step out there.
What's cool is I feel like it's kind of a full circle thing because it reminds me of the same spirit you had when you worked at Sears, when you were just handing out CDs and one of them fell on the floor, but somebody picked it up. And that tenacity and that consistency to change people's minds and get them on board, I think it applies here too. In like pushing a new platform. It's like, okay, you don't have to like it at first, but like we're going to keep going until songwriters are a thing, until we're getting paid.
100%.
That's amazing. Well, this has been so awesome. I feel like we could go for another hour or 2 hours.
Seriously.
I feel like we only scratched the surface. So hopefully we get a season 2 and we can do another round of interviews like this. But we've been ending every show with, we're going to give you 5 of your songs and you have to blind rank them. All right. We're going to start with Thank You Next by Ariana Grande.
Number 2.
Number 2. All right. Next, we're going to go Positions by Ariana Grande.
Number 3.
Okay. So leave them number 1 open.
This is fun.
We could probably do all Ariana songs. I'm going to do one more. Let's do Boyfriend with Social House by Ariana Grande.
Number 4.
Okay.
This is one I'm curious about. Holy by Justin Bieber.
Shit.
Can you talk about that song real quick? Because that's just one of my favorite songs.
I can't put that at number 5. And I don't want to put it at number 1. We were I'm not going to say the artist. We were supposed to be writing for an artist. And I had John Bellion here, who's one of my favorite creatives.
Incredible songwriter, creative.
And I told him I was such a fan of his, and he said he was a fan of mine. And we went in the studio, and the artist never showed up. So I was trying to get skinny, like I've been trying to get for like the last like
Not
5 years.
Not
of my
where I
life.
expected this to go.
And
Yeah.
I'm like on a workout bike in the booth, and they accidentally wire the speaker to the guitar amp in the booth. So I hear these chords, and I jump off the workout bike, and I go in the room. They're like, "Oh, we're just testing for sound." I'm like, "These chords are incredible."
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Franks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, he's so good. And John's in there, and I was just like, yo, just let him loop. And we were sitting in the lobby talking. John's laying on his back, looking at the ceiling, and he gets up and he's like, I got it. Like, got what? He's like, I got the song. And he goes in there and sings the song down.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And I said, hey, can everybody walk out the room for a second? I need to speak to John and Franks. And everybody walks out the room. And I said, listen, this never happened. Because I don't want this artist to come in here and think that they can take this song. So they said it's cool. So they closed up the session and we moved on to something else.
Wow.
Then like 6-9 months later, John calls me and he's like, Bieber cut the song. I think we're going to put Chance on the verse.
Wow.
And it's just for me, the reason I ranked that song high is the message for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a song about love. And I feel like that's what a lot of our songs are missing in the industry as of now. Like the song is about love, like him loving his wife, him getting married. And I think that's such an important message.
It's
Right.
positive.
It's positive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. We have a lot of like breakup songs, a lot of salty songs right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got one more, and it's 7 Rings by Ariana Grande.
It's tough because 7 Rings is my biggest song.
Right.
And it's an incredible song. So I can't put it at number 5.
Well, you got to pick 5 or 1. Which one goes 5? Which one goes 1?
Shit. I mean, I have to put 7 Rings at 1 because it's my biggest song.
All right,
Do-
so 7
do the
rings
right
at
thing.
1. All right, so then we do one more game, and we're gonna go through everyone in the cast,
Oh,
and you're gonna give
God.
1-word adjectives, just kind of top of your mind, whatever you think about the person. So
Chi.
Chi.
that's a great answer.
Blue.
Incredible.
Trey.
Flawless.
Ben.
Unexpected.
There we go.
Faraz.
Oh, pleasant.
J Hart.
Fashion icon.
Whitney.
Whitney is also unexpected
Mm,
because they don't know Whitney gonna come in there with that voice.
that's right.
Oh, that's nice. Jenna.
A wordsmith.
Steven.
Incredibly talented. I don't know.
Mhm.
Steven's just like, he's somebody that you'd be like, you love to hate. And he's just fucking incredible. Like, he's really talented.
He is.
Yeah, he gets it done for sure. 7.
Oh, she's a treasure.
Harv.
Competitive.
Okay, yeah, that's
that was
everybody.
great.
Um,
was
yeah,
amazing.
thanks so much for coming on our little podcast, and this has been amazing. Like I said, hopefully we get another season or another chance to sit down and talk.
No,
anything
you're
to
just
add?
a joy. You're full of knowledge, full of charm and wit, and we just love you. We can't wait to have you back.
Yeah,
We'll do a second
Thank you. I
season.
can't wait to come back.
All right, perfect.
Perfect.
All right.